12, and it is Monday, November the 17th, 2025, and we want to welcome everyone to this Consciousness Ascending presentation, this episode number 74 of Accelerating Your Journey. My name is Benny Ferguson. I channel the non-physical collective known as Abraham. Been channeling for over a decade now, and we are excited to be here. We are excited to be of support, not just to be of support, but to accelerate the process of your growth and expansion through our interactions. We want to thank each of you who are here and who will be here for supporting us in the creation of this interaction. We want to thank those of you who have found this recording, allowing us to be of support in that manner. If you're new and you find value, be sure to subscribe so that you're alerted whenever new content is uploaded, so that you know when we're going live. Check the description so that you can connect with us and become a part of the community. There are offerings and providings off this platform in which we offer our support. We also offer private sessions for those of you who have something that is big in your experience right now that you would like to be free of, that you would like to be clear of, that you know that is hindering growth and expansion, that is hindering an experience that you're desiring to create at the moment. Be sure to check out that. You can click the link, visit the page for that. There's a brief presentation on what to expect, and then you can go from there. We also offer a private community. Our private community has been active for, we think, 2 years now, in which individuals are being accelerated, are experiencing dramatic change, growth, and expansion. Individuals just like you who have been about this play and practice for years now have a clear vision, a clear focus, and the support necessary to explode down the path of their growth and expansion in a short amount of time. We're excited. These are exciting times, and they can be exciting times for each of you if you are doing the play and practice that's necessary inwardly, if you are focused inward and elevating yourself and simultaneously becoming more and more aware and observant of how your external experience is shifting in response to the transformations that you are making on the inside. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. So, today's topic is look to your expressions to uncover the key. Look to your expressions to uncover the key. The decision to be brilliant starts as an energy expression. The decision to be brilliant starts as an energy expression. Conscious creators, your expressions are the beginning and the end as it relates to your potential on your plane of existence, your expressions. The challenge is that again the data, the amount of information, and the confidence that so many of you have in your external senses. The belief that your external experience is the truth. And therefore your external senses must be connected to the truth. They must be connected. They must honor that which is real. And therefore they are most important. Therefore that which they are interpreting is priority. This is the conditioning. This is the conditioning, which is why it's such a challenge for those who have been thrust on this path. Most of you have been thrust on this path. To truly get a grip on their potential. And it's because of the external focus. It's because of the external focus. This has been the conditioning. This is who you have been and who everyone around you has been all of your life. It's challenging to turn your attention inward, to turn your attention to the internal versus being focused externally. But when you turn your attention internally, inward, to not the inner creative process, but just to what's going on the inside of you. You're not in meditation. You're not doing any type of meditation where you're trying to be silent, be still, still the mind, or any of those things. You're not doing any of that. You're just being aware of your normal, consistent thought patterns. You're just being aware of how you feel and how you're being triggered to feel on a normal basis. And when you just be aware, in love, not judgment, not frustration, not anger at yourself, towards yourself for who you are being, who you have been, but you're just being aware, and you're becoming more and more acutely aware. And the more you become aware of yourself, the more you become aware of that which you are being internally, the more you see the connection between you and your experience. Understand that that which is external to you is constantly changing. That which is external to you has no inherent creative power. That which is external to you is an effect and not a cause. It's immediately history. There is nothing about what's happening right now in front of you in your present moment that causes it to appear again in the next present moment. There's nothing about it. It's here and it's gone. The person you interacted with is here and they're gone. The conversation you had is over. There's nothing about that conversation or that happening or that interaction that causes it or gives it the power to be revealed or presented again in a future present moment. The only place where there is a continuation of things, where there is a constant of things, where there's a consistency of things is inside of you. And when you look inside and you become more and more aware and observant of what's going on the inside, you see how you have been consistently thinking the thoughts that directly relate you and align you with that and that type of experience. When you look inside with consistency, you begin to see how you have often felt the feeling, a feeling that connects you, aligns you with that or similar experience. Both of these mean that there is or are dominant ideas within you, below your conscious awareness, that have strength, that are energized with emotion, tagged with emotion, that are fueling the thoughts, that are fueling the consistent thought patterns, that are fueling the consistent emotional expressions connected to the thought patterns, that connect you, place you in alignment with that or similar experiences. When you're consistent at playing and practicing with observing the internal actions, you begin to see that which is consistent. The external is not consistent. The external is here, then it's gone. The external is constantly changing. That which is constantly similar and constantly the same is what's occurring on the inside of you. You have been conditioned to dominant ideas that are holding you in position. You have been conditioned to thought patterns in relation to those dominant ideas that are establishing, reaffirming, and further strengthening the loop that keeps you in position. You have been conditioned to a level of vibration that is in alignment, perfect alignment with those dominant ideas and with those thought patterns that keep you in position. It's a perfect loop. It's a powerful loop. A loop that's challenging to disturb unless you address it the correct way. And when you address these loops, you have to address them in a different vibration than the vibration that they are established in. The consistency is in here. What appears to be consistency in the external is an effect of the inner source consistency. You have to understand that. As one who aspires to be a powerful conscious creator, you have to understand where and how you are being consistent. You have to be more and more aware of how you are connecting to experience. Not why am I connected to experience. There's blame and there's frustration and there's the releasing of responsibility and all of those things in that idea. Not why, but how. How am I connecting to the experience? The power is in how you are connecting. Because in the how, you can shift it. You can change it. The how you are connecting to undesired experiences also holds the key to connecting to all of the experiences you actually do desire. For the process is the same. The process is the same. So as a first step, and we offer these first steps, we continue to offer these first steps as a form of building foundation. Building a firm foundation for your growth and expansion that will accelerate the process in time once you have this foundation firmly established. Part of the foundation is, yes, that you are creating, accepting that, at least intellectually. Part of the foundation is becoming aware that you are consistent internally, that the external is not consistent about anything. It's actually just mirroring you. You as an individual, you as in the groups you are a part of and the experiences that they have, groups of people that you interact with and communicate with that are often have beautiful relationship experience or not so great relationship experience. The energy of that group you participate in, and that's why the people around you are often having similar types of experiences to varying degrees. It's not because you look alike. It's because, first and foremost, you feel alike. And then from there, you think from them. When you identify the truths of source that are expressed freely in nature, through those species that are not as highly evolved cognitively as you are, in your ability to choose, in your ability to create desired and undesired. Truths of source, healing, well-being, that's who you are. Dis-ease, sickness, it's not who you are. That's the result of interacting in a lower level of vibration than that which is the source of you, actually. Truth of source. Oneness. Unity, connectivity. When you realize and understand that all is one, and that you are that and that is you, and you begin to treat that as you, Everything changes. Now, the challenge with that is that if you don't see yourself in a high light, you cannot see that outside of you. Truthfully, in a high light. The more you see yourself as perfect, the more you see yourself as love and know yourself as love, the more you will know and see the perfection and the love in that which you interact with externally to you. So that oneness comes with the caveat of how you see yourself, which is all you ever see outside of you, really, is how you see yourself. But oneness is a truth. And expressed and known in the highest frequency, you change your world, your personal world. You change your personal earth that you are creating and interacting with. Truth. Another truth of source is that of abundance. Everything that exists is in a state of abundance, is in a state of excess, is in a state of consistent, constant, exponential multiplying of itself. When you look at in nature, when you look at just the interactions and the movements of humanity, everything is in abundance. So if you are not experiencing a wealth of things, an abundance of things in your life, which you are, but the highlight for most of you is that which you feel like you're not experiencing abundance of. If you feel like you're not experiencing an abundance of things in your life, it's because of your interpretation of that idea. It's because of your vibration, your energy connection to that idea that is creating the experience of it in an undesired fashion. Again, this is so funny to say this, but it's also so challenging for most to understand. An experience of an experience of an abundance of lack and scarcity is abundance being experienced. It's just how the idea is being manipulated through your being based on your dominant ideas and the level of vibration that you are expressing in relationship to your idea of an abundance of money. Most of you on this interaction have an abundance of clothes, have an abundance of food or have access to it, have an abundance of things that you do when it comes to your hobbies. You probably have an abundance of things. If you're a mechanic, you probably have an abundance of tools. Right? Each of you are experiencing an abundance of things in your individual experience, in your homes, that you're not noticing. And you're not noticing its presence, the presence of abundance. You're not noticing the feel of abundance as it relates to that thing. But you will say you're not experiencing abundance and would like to experience abundance over here in a different area. But abundance is a truth. Abundance is permanent. It's constantly being expressed of nature in reality and in your life in specific areas. Abundance has a specific feel. The awareness of abundance as a truth is foundational. So in this realm that we're talking about now, we're talking about turning your attention inward. We're talking about establishing a firm foundation. We're talking about being aware of how your internal is the constant. The internal that you're offering is what is consistent. And that is what connects you and links you to experience. And when you begin to understand all of these things and you begin to put these things in place, all right, and it doesn't have to take long, but if you find it challenging to turn your attention inward, it can be a drawn out process. If you find it challenging to accept any of the truths that we have identified, because your conditioning is so strong, it can be a long, drawn out process. And you can find yourself, hey, yeah, I heard that. I understand that. That makes sense to me. but then it's 2, 3 years later, and you haven't made any dramatic headway in addressing and transforming your internal makeup as in relationship to that idea. That's why a community and consistent support around you is so powerful. So let's talk about understanding all of these things, beginning to establish the foundation, and then beginning to have an intention. Not a specific intention, but an open-ended intention for you, for your life, so that you can see and observe shifts occurring. The intention of brilliance, of being brilliant, having brilliant experience, starts as an expression. And truly, anytime you have an intention, it starts as an expression. Anytime you have an intention, it starts as an expression. All right. We're seeing the chat moving. Are we still frozen, or are we connected? Are you able to see us? Someone let us know real quick. Okay, Sonia, excellent. We were asking about the connection. Said something about being frozen. Okay. All right, we'll come back to that, Sonia. But understanding that just the idea of brilliance and becoming aware and noticing that it's an expression. Brilliance is an expression. It's the starting place. It's the starting point. It's first cause to experience. Just as you became aware foundationally that that which is occurring inside of you is what connects and links you to the external as it appears in front of you. It connects and links you to specific people at specific moments, at specific times, whether the people and the things that are supporting you in creating your experience in your home or at your job or at the stores, whether the people are at a distance from you or they get so close to you that they speak and say hello. It starts internally. And say you begin to entertain the idea of brilliance, of being brilliant, of having brilliant experience. And you begin to entertain that idea. Now, you may not have a specific or clear idea of what it looks like. You can look to your imagination, ask your inner being, what does that look like over the day? But creation doesn't start with the imagery. Creation starts with the feeling. And if you ask, what does brilliance feel like to me? You can almost immediately begin to feel the feeling beginning to grow and expand inside of your body. And that is what you connect with. That is what you cultivate to as big of a bonfire inside that you can make it. The feeling of brilliance. Those of you who are here now, those of you who have found this recording, take a moment. Take a moment and ask yourself, what does brilliance feel like? If the rest of my day were brilliant, not what it looked like, not what would happen, but how would it feel? Because your experiences cause you to feel. So if you're not clear on an idea, you want to start a business, but you don't know what that business looks like. You want to be in a relationship, but you don't know exactly what the type of relationship you would like looks like. You need a car, you want a home, but you don't know exactly what it looks like. How does it feel to have the experience? Not what does it look like, but how does it feel? What does brilliance feel like? Is it low or is it high? Is it constricted? Or is it expansive and open? These are critical points. These are critical details. And once you identify what brilliance feels like, then you can strive to be more and more consistent at offering that feeling. And guess what happens? Over time, you will begin to develop the imagery of what it looks like for you. What does brilliance look like at home when you're interacting with children, when you're interacting with spouse or partner? What does brilliance look like at your job or in your careers? In your delivery of or performing in and through your expertise? What does brilliance look like in your business operations on a daily basis? What does brilliance look like as you walk through the store to purchase groceries and supplies? What does brilliance look like at the restaurant? From the moment you pull into the parking lot, enter the door, are seated by the host or hostess, supported by the waiter or waitress. What does brilliance feel like? And then you begin to develop what brilliance looks like. That is the establishing of the loop of expression. And when that starts to become dominant, guess what? Now you're thinking thoughts of brilliance more consistently and at random. You're feeling the feeling of brilliance more consistently and at random. And you begin to talk from that space. You begin to act from that space. You begin to expect it. And anything that makes its way into your experience that you deem not brilliant becomes odd. That's weird. How did I connect with that? It wasn't brilliance. It wasn't excellence. Think about it. You can access and begin to express any idea, any state of being that you feel would be of benefit and transformative to your experience. If you are used to, out of conditioning, expressing low value, expressing a level of and feeling helpless to authority, helpless to those around you, if you are used to feeling that way, you can immediately begin to establish a state of being and access the feeling of extreme confidence, right? Extreme value, being the most valuable, the most sought after. And that feeling is the prerequisite to those experiences. You can access those now. Most of you have felt the contrast. You felt the contrast through watching a movie or watching a TV show and seeing that person that is strong, or you'll perceive them as being strong, as being confident, as being daring, of being resolved, of thriving, not taking no for an answer, pushing through challenges. And you felt that feeling and you've said, wow, that's awesome. I need more of that. I need to be more of that. I can see how being that way would allow me to move closer and faster to my goals, my desires. What you have to understand is that expression in your observing of that individual and their experience creation, whether it was real life or through a television show or your media, that feeling wasn't put inside of you. The observing of that individual and their acts ignited feeling that was already in you. You have access to the whole spectrum of feeling that, when consistently expressed, will yield aligned experience. Which means you can immediately change yourself. You can immediately make shifts. from low value to high value, from the absence of confidence to confidence. And these are ideas that we know you're familiar with, not necessarily ideas that Source even considers, but you have to move in that direction, right? You can access them right now. When you build the foundation, you begin to understand those things. You begin to understand that which is expressed from Source naturally. That is actually you, just masked over by your conditioning. You can access all of those things now, begin to recreate yourself, begin to build the momentum through the expression, and begin to excitedly look for the subtle shifts to begin to occur in your experience based on that expression. And we suggest play with brilliance. We like brilliance. Penny likes brilliance over excellence, but they're synonymous. Play with brilliance. Brilliance. I am brilliant right now. I enjoy brilliant experiences. You may find the parking space at the front of the parking lot. You may find yourself seated in the best seats in the restaurant, the best seats at the concert. You may find yourself around the funnest people. And when you evaluate your day before you fall asleep, you say, wow, that was brilliant. Yeah, that was very close to what I might call brilliant. And it's the result of the expression. It's the result of the expressing of the feel. Look to your expressions to uncover the key. The decision to be brilliant starts as an energy expression. This is where you discover the truth of you in Source. This is where you discover your true potential and power. This is where you, after enough play and practice, you begin to ask the question, what's not possible for me? Is there anything that I cannot create as an experience? You know what? I'm going to begin to push. I'm going to begin to strive to create the high and establish within myself the highest of intentions and express the feeling of those intentions consistently, and watch and observe my experience. And I'm going to begin to write down as I begin to see the effects of my newly shaped, formed, and expressed intentions. And that's the realization of your power. The beginning to realize, knowing that you are intending, knowing it's first and foremost about the feeling, and then excitedly just watching to see when and how your experience begins to mirror that which you are offering. It's a beautiful thing stepping into your power. It's a beautiful thing being able to observe and watch and know for a fact that your experience is beginning to reflect that which you began to offer a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And you know that you are doing it. You know that you established the idea. You know that you are creating. And then it's about how much stronger, how much more solid can I be in my activities, these core focused activities. If I explode the energy around an idea and establish it with big emotion, does that help make the idea more dominant, more quickly? If I set my phone for every 30 minutes instead of an hour, and I get myself into that feeling state, will I be more in alignment, more consistently, drawing me closer to experience? You begin to play with the different facets to see what happens in your experience based on the experimentation. And you begin to narrow down the process. I did this and this happened. I did this and this happened. expression. Becoming aware of your expressing is first. Becoming aware of where the consistency is, internally, not externally, begins to establish the foundation. Using an idea as such as brilliance as an experiment in the awareness of what you are expressing and how that idea and the feeling is affecting your internal state. And then the observing of shifts and changes that occur in your experience that you know are connected to the idea of brilliance that you are offering. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And we're excited for each of you. We're excited for each of you. For those of you who hang in on these calls, these interactions, you are expanding. You are being expanded. You are evolving at a higher pace. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's our desire for you to know, for you to realize your truth now as you walk physically, not after you make your transition, but as soon as possible as you walk physically, so that you can be another light. Not a light as in, I'm going to save the world, but a light as in right where you are. Being, doing, and having that which you are inspired to. Whether it's to be an amazing parent, mother, father. Be excellent at your job, career, or business. Be excellent as you walk through the stores. Expressing the truth of you in the highest, in the brightest, in the most authentic and the most unique fashion. And allowing your touch to ripple through the masses in abundance. From you to the cashier, to the cashier's children, to the cashier's partner, to the family of the partner of the cashier. The ripple effect. From you just being you in the highest, because you understand and know who you are in source. You understand your truth, and you're wielding it from the highest frequency space that you can fathom, and that is constantly expanding and evolving. That's our goal for you. That's how we see you now. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas that you have been inspired to as a result of this interaction, take a few moments. We will take a few moments. If you place those in the chat mechanism, we will discuss those. Let's see. Sonia says, there are a couple of things from my past that keep popping up in my mind, even though I have requested forgiveness and changed my actions. How can I release these negative thoughts? Let's see. Sonia, first of all, we don't quite understand the idea of requesting forgiveness. There is nothing outside of you to forgive or to ask for forgiveness from. That which occurred, whatever it is that you're referring to, occurred as a result of your offering, your expressing. This is exactly what we were talking about here, to a degree. So if there's forgiveness to be had or giveness to yourself, is to free yourself to accept that whatever happened was the result of the vibration that you were in, the thoughts, the loops that were present within you at that moment. And we have no doubt that you're not that person anymore. Right? So the play is to, first, if you have no practice, if you have no process, is to not give it any thought anymore. Is to ask yourself, what's the highest version of me now? Who am I now in my highest expression, in the highest frequency as a result of that experience? And then be that. That's the highest and most excellent thing you can do. Who am I now in the highest as a result of that experience? What is the highest version of me now as a result of that experience? That means any learnings, any understandings, any higher perspective, higher vibrational perspective that you can glean from that experience for you. And then having taken those golden shillings, those golden nuggets from that experience, made them your own, and now moving forward as that being who has gleaned all of the excellence out of that experience. Accepting, being at peace with yourself that I created it. It was who I was being at the time. It's not who I am anymore. I am a completely different version of myself now. All is perfect. I'm moving forward as that new highest version of myself. That is the result of, thank you, that experience. There's no one outside of you to forgive. And there's no one outside of you that can give you forgiveness, because forgiveness is an individual thing in which you release yourself from any fear, from any guilt, or any shame for having or creating the experience. If you don't release yourself, then you are constantly carrying those low vibrational ideas, and those low vibrational ideas are causing you to feel in a way that holds you in a low vibrational state. Even though over here you're trying and striving to create higher vibrational states for yourself, to recondition yourself. But over here, you're holding these ideas which are holding you in place, per se. We've said this before. Forgiveness, if there's such a thing, is for you. It's not for anything outside of you. Forgiveness is you releasing you of the need to stay bound to the low vibrational ideas that were being expressed that created the experience. Forgiveness is freedom for the self. And it's a beautiful thing. But this is the turning inward. This is the turning inward of your attention. This is the turning inward of your awareness. This is the constant recognition that I am at the center of my experience. That which I come in contact with is a reflection of me, and it is in support of me to create that experience. Whatever the experience is that you're considering in this idea of forgiveness, everyone and everything that participated in that experience was there in support of you to create that experience. And in the initial, we know that feels really, really big. But it's because you're still reeling in your attention and your awareness. And you're still establishing the understanding and the belief and the knowing that you're the center, that you are the source of your individual verse, and that which you come in contact with is showing up in love, in support of you to create the experience of which you have been expressing and aligning yourself with, energetically, vibrationally. Can you see the release in that? Can you see the peace in that? Can you see the power in that? Because it's all revealing the creative process. It's all revealing the truth of you at the center, at the core, at the source of your experience. And as you make your way out of that which you deem undesired, that which you deemed to be challenging or not so great, as you release yourself of any ideas that require forgiveness, you're moving up the scale, out of the valley, into the higher vibrational peaks that you might create for yourself. But you're moving along that scale. That's an excellent question. And we have revealed what we know to be true from our perspective as it pertains to forgiveness. And understanding the selfishness by which each of you are creating. And it's beautiful, and it's powerful, and it's excellent. And when it's wielded from a high frequency state, it's to the benefit of everything and everyone you come in contact with. We hope that makes sense. Yes, I had released the thoughts, but someone brought it up recently. Our question would be, how much time has occurred between the last time you had an experience with or related to this idea? We're feeling that it's probably been a while, which means that the idea is still subtly present within you, resonating subtly. It's probably not really, really big. It's probably not really, really strong, because we understand you're on this path. You're playing and practicing with ideas and with techniques to release and let go of ideas. So in that play and practice, we have no doubt that you have cut into the idea, that you have weakened the emotion around it. And when you cut into an idea and it's less and less dominant and you weaken the emotion, that means that the level of consistency and the bigness that results of the experience is becoming less and less. And when it does show up, it's not as big of an experience as it once was. And it's because you've been cutting into the emotion of the idea, and you've been playing to release the idea. But you're aware that remnants of that idea as an experience showed up again. So you don't address the people, you don't address the things, you go back to the idea, ask your inner being, what remnants are still left of that idea? Bring them forward into your conscious awareness so that you can understand it, so that you can release it, so that you can remake yourself anew in the absence of that idea. And the remaking of yourself gives you who and what to focus on, the states of being to hold and to express as the you who is free of that idea. Ask your inner being to present you with the remnants of that idea, whatever the shapes, whatever the forms, whatever the feelings, so that you can understand it, glean all of the information from it. And you're doing this from a high frequency state. Glean all of the information from it that you can, that is highest and best for you as you move forward. Release that idea in whatever way your inner being says is highest and best for you now. All of this is happening on your screen of your imagination, the screen of your mind. This interaction is happening between you and your inner being. And then lastly, who am I that is free of this idea? And then you take that image of you and how you feel, and you make that your new state of being as it relates to that idea. That's how you do it. That's one way to do it. Thank you for that question. Let's see. It's wonderful to know that sometimes I'm so in alignment that what you were saying, let's see. Wonderful to know that sometimes I'm so in alignment with what you were saying that I know the words you're about to say. Absolutely. That's means that you are closely in tune with us. We are closely in tune with you. We are in alignment. We're in harmony. And we're in alignment and in harmony with each of you on this call, on this in this interaction right now. We're gleaning information. This conversation has taken shape and form as a result of us interacting vibrationally. Benny asked, while we were communicating, is this in line with what the topic was, what's on the thumbnail and what's in the title? Right? But each time we were able to come back, right? We came back to what was in the title. We connected it, But we were pulling questions and information and things from your energies as we are connected at this moment to make this interaction the highest that it could be, directly related to that which you are considering, asking, questioning, wondering right now at this moment. And that's why in a high frequency state, the energies are clear, the energies are clean, the connection is more and more pure. And that's why you are able to perceive that. Again, we've mentioned this before. Benny has that happen all the time, even more so now with his children, but with his daughter specifically. When they're in the car together and there's no one else there, there's rarely a time when they're not connected to the point where they say specifically a thought that was in. Now, his daughter, not so much. She's not as aware as Benny is, but he's aware constantly of how often he'll think a thought and then she'll say the exact words. He'll think a thought and she'll say the exact words. Happens all the time. All the time between the two. And it can happen at a short distance, because there's no time and space. It can happen at a short distance, and it can happen at, well, we get ready to say it can happen at huge distance, but there is no time and space. How much distance is between Benny and all of you? Right? At least a few miles, maybe hundreds of miles, maybe thousands of miles. Right? Some of you may be other side of the world. Well, other side of the world is probably nighttime. Halfway around the world. And yet you're connected energetically. You're connected vibrationally in the highest and most perfect fashion that, yes, you may perceive our conversation before we actually say it. Thus revealing other potentials, thus revealing power that each of you wield that can be used in the highest in many, many different ways. The building and establishing of beautiful relationship as a parent, as a partner. The establishing of beautiful relationship in your jobs or careers. The wielding of it beautifully and excellently as a business owner. Creating clients. Creating customers, establishing relationship. These ideas, these potentials have immense practical application in your lives. But you have to build the foundation. You have to come to know who you are truly. You have to go about the play and practice of releasing that which is keeping you from being consistent in a high frequency state in order to develop the capacity to say, yes, I can, to use these potentials as normal offerings and expressions of you. As you continue to expand and evolve, these potentials will reveal themselves and you will make them more and more your own. And they go from something you became aware of to something that I am playing and practicing with to something that you're no longer playing and practicing with because it's just who you are. If you know how to swim and you've been swimming since you were small, you don't try to swim. You just go swim. If you're an adult and you've been driving since you were little, Benny's been driving since he was 9, you don't get in a car or a vehicle and try to drive. You just drive because it's who you are. Does that make sense? We hope that makes sense. Yes, you're saying it's been years. Yes, that means that idea is very weak. And yet, it's still present, subtly. And you're still offering it vibrationally. If that idea is still present within you, no matter how subtle, you're still offering the vibration of that idea. But because it's so weak, the experience of it, the frequency of the experience of it has spanned out. Yes. Think about, this is powerful. This is for each of you. And this is what's talking about the consistency of experience in direct relationship to the energy strength of an idea. The stronger an idea, meaning the emotion, the energy tied to it, the faster the frequency. What's that? The amplitude? The faster the amplitude. Right? The weaker the idea, the slower the amplitude. The faster the amplitude equals greater frequency of experience. Once the necessary momentum has been established. The slower the amplitude, the weaker the idea, the less emotion tied to it. You think about that idea and you don't get all frustrated and upset. You feel a slight twinge, but you don't get overwhelmed with that the emotion of the experience. The slower the amplitude, the wider the wavelength. The wider the wavelength, the less frequent the experience because of the length of the wavelengths. The length of the wavelengths is directly correlated to the bigness of the emotion tied to an idea. So there's lots of answers in that right there for you. Weaker an idea the weaker the idea that is birthing undesired experience, the less the frequency. The less the frequency of the experience. The bigger the emotion, the bigger the energy of an experience that you desire to have, the faster the amplitude. Once the necessary momentum is established and you're not resisting it in any way, there's no inner conflict to the experience, the faster the experiences happen and show up in front of you, externally. This is what is always happening. This is the process. This is the play. This is the energy model of all that has happened in your life. You can look at the highs and the lows. You'll look at what you perceive to be desired and undesired. And when you look, you can see and you can observe that which has happened over and over again. How do I keep finding this same type of person in relationship? Right? Why does this keep happening to me? Why does it seem like financially I take one step forward and 2 steps back? Ideas, emotion and energy attached to those ideas, the amplitude, the speed, as a result of the bigness of the energy tied to the idea, frequency of experience. Every 2 weeks, every week, every month, every other month. Years. But yet there's still consistency. Even though it's 6 months, it hasn't happened. A year, nothing's happened in relationship to it. But when you look back, there's a consistency, even though there may be a year in between. There's a consistency. It's because the idea is still there. It's just weak. What makes the idea weak or strong? Oh, let's see. Let's go back. I was going to confront this person, but I now see that I am free, letting go of it. Yes, there's no reason to confront anyone, because when you are no longer vibrationally, energetically aligned with the experience, there's no experience. When you are no longer vibrationally, energetically aligned with an experience, there is no experience. And it doesn't matter whether this is if this is a family member that you come in contact with often, if it's a brother or sister that you know you're going to see next week, or that you know you're going to see over the holidays. If you're no longer aligned with that type of experience energetically, then there's no experience. Now, if they're still aligned with that type of experience, you may see them having that experience with someone else, but it won't be with you. because you're no longer connected to that experience energetically. There's never any need to address the collaborative components. The collaborative components are there because you have aligned with them and they have aligned with you. When you sever your energy vibrational connection to an experience, you're no longer tied to the experience. And then you can begin to observe if there's a frequency or not. Is there a level of frequency of which this experience has been my norm? Has it become less and less? That lets you know if the idea has gotten weaker as a result of your play and practice, or if it doesn't exist at all. If you know that you used to have an experience with a level of frequency every few months, and now it's been a year, 2 years, and you haven't had that experience anymore, guess what? That means you released that idea. But in your play and practice to release an idea, we also suggest that you establish a contrasting idea, right? Whatever the experience is that you're communicating, that you have in your mind and body right now that you're communicating about, have you established the contrast of that experience? Take time to establish the contrast of that experience and explode the energy and the emotion into that idea beautifully and highly and electrically. And the more you do that, when it becomes dominant and it becomes your dominant expression, the old idea will fall away because you're no longer giving it any energy at all, any attention at all. Because you're so focused on this new idea that you have established and you have made it so strong with energy that it dominates your attention and your focus. What makes the idea weak or strong? The emotion, the energy that's tied to it. Think about a traumatic event. You can have a traumatic event, and if it has big energy and big emotion, that a traumatic event can establish an idea inside of you in a single moment that can last a lifetime, which is what happens often when you're children, and you don't understand your power to accept or not accept an idea that's offered by family, friends, mothers, fathers. But high emotion in a traumatic event can establish an idea immediately, which means you can establish a beautiful idea, a more empowering idea immediately as well. But because so many are conditioned to not celebrate anything that is personal to them, it feels uncomfortable to say, you know what, I desire to have this beautiful experience. I feel myself in this experience, and it's a beautiful thing. It's an excellent thing. Most are uncomfortable doing that around people, and then they're still uncomfortable doing it in privacy because they've been conditioned away from celebrating themselves, celebrating anything that you desire or want to have an experience, celebrating your own successes. Now, we're kind of getting into a topic that is coming up later on this week, but most have been conditioned out of celebrating themselves because of how it might make someone else feel, which is a low vibrational teaching and implying and suggestion given by people around you that were in a low vibrational state, a fearful state. But to celebrate, honor a new idea and explode the energy and emotion of that idea establishes it as dominant. And when it becomes dominant, now it's the driving force vibrationally, unconsciously, for you moving toward that which you desire and intend. That's how the lower vibrational ideas were established as dominant. And that's how you can create new ideas that you would like to be dominant, that you would like to be in operation unconsciously, moving you toward desired experiences. All right. Laura Ann, are you new? Are you new? Excuse us. Are you new? Awesome. Glad you're here. Let's see. If you are experiencing a challenging relationship with your child, but you desire to strengthen the love, peace, joy, and respect, what is a practice that can be put into place to accomplish that? Okay, so we love your wording. Challenging relationship on one side, love, peace, joy, and respect on the other. And when you look at those right now, each of you, if you play with us and look at those right now, one feels a certain way, one feels another way. They're almost in direct contrast to each other, right? If you meditate, if you understand your inner being is constantly trying to communicate with you, and it communicates with you through the screen of your mind and your imagination. In your meditation, ask yourself, what is there for me to understand about me in this relationship? Glean that information. Thank you, inner being. How is this idea, the ideas that connect me to this type of relationship, how are they represented? You're asking your inner being to show you, because your inner being, the truth of you, can see all of the stuff up from the truth of you through your mind and body as it relates to you on this plane of existence into your experience and your expression and experience. So you ask the question, and then you look, you observe, screen of your mind, how the idea is interpreted, the shapes, the forms, all of the things. Then you ask your inner being how to release it, right? You do that. Once you do that, then you move to the desired experience. Who am I that is free of all of that stuff? What do I look like? What do I feel like? And who am I that has created this excellent, this brilliant relationship with my children? What does she look like? How does she feel? All of this is about who you are being. It has nothing to do with your children. For those of you thinking about spouse or partner, it has nothing to do with your spouse or partner. And this is challenging because these people, there's expectation tied to these individuals. And because they're in such close proximity with you, you're probably experiencing high explosion of these experiences and the emotion around them in the direction of that which is unwanted. But the beautiful thing is, as you go about this play and practice and you walk this path, the more you interact with the trying as often as you can to be the person who is creating the experience that you do desire, the stronger you get. The stronger you get at being that person. The stronger you get at expressing the feeling that connects you with the experience that you desire. And the more often you are, and the more consistent you are at expressing the feeling, once you have identified it, the thoughts of that person begin to make their way into your being. And once the thoughts and the feelings begin to cycle and create that loop of expression, then you find yourself speaking words from that state of being that you've never spoken before. You find yourself pausing to make sure that you are offering in that relationship from that state of being and not from a fearful state or potential remnants of that old expression. You start catching yourself. And this is evidence of the increased power that you're wielding as an individual conscious creator. You are shifting, transforming your states of being. You're shifting, transforming yourself. And in doing that, the more you are becoming in alignment with the experience that you are desiring and intending to create. And as you continue to move down the path, you go from it being something that you're doing to just who you are. And you will have seen evidence and become the experience. It has nothing to do with anybody else. The external will shift and mold to you. The external will shift and mold to you. Thank you. I was talking about feeling free to celebrate self a few days ago. It's a big thing. And again, hang in there. We're going to talk about that later on this week. How important it is to celebrate yourself, to honor yourself. How it keeps you in alignment. How it places you in alignment, in harmony with all of the things that are connected to that feeling. Think about that. And you celebrate yourself, honor yourself for all of the good that you have done, for who you are, for just being here. Man, it's awesome to be here today. I'm excited just to be able to be present today Simple as that sounds, it causes you to feel a certain way. And that feeling connects you to similar feeling experience in your relationships, in your finances, in your experience of abundance, all of those things. Now, simultaneously, it causes anything that opposes that feeling to come up. But thank you. Now I'm aware. Now it's come up into your conscious awareness so you can interact with it, understand it, and release it. All of this stuff, it's beautiful, it's perfect, it's necessary. But it's about perspective. But it starts with, yes, being able to honor yourself, celebrate yourself right where you are now. Because the truth of you is excellent. The truth of you is perfect. The truth of you is brilliant. The only thing that's clouding your perception, understanding, and knowing of that truth is your conditioning. Is your conditioning. Everything that we just said is who you are right now, each of you. The conditioning is the clouds. But you know that the sun is there whether it's cloudy or not. You know the sun is up there, even if you can't see it. And it's the same for the truth of you in source. There is a magnificent, excellent, high frequency version of yourself that exists right now that's only being masked over by your conditioning. And the expression of that truth of you on your plane of existence equals beautiful relationship, highest possible health and well-being, abundance in all forms, shapes, and sizes, success in your business, in your career, in your following of your inspirations, whatever that looks like and means to you, because you're operating, expressing in the highest of frequency. And in the highest of frequency, just as in the lowest of frequency, alignment is alignment. So in the highest of frequency, if you can fathom it and think about it and meditate on it, that places you and connects you with experiences that are in the highest frequency. And you begin to move from peak to peak, because in the attainment of that, in the moving into that, you have elevated yourself out of the valleys of undesired experiences, because the frequency that you're in now is not the frequency that once supported the creation of undesired experience. You have shifted your mind now that you are in more and more of a higher frequency to where you're thinking more and more along beautiful things, successful things, powerful things as it relates to you. And you're thinking less and less about broken things, failure type things, undesired things. You're no longer thinking about them. You're no longer feeling them. They're no longer your focus. You don't need to focus on protecting yourself, shielding yourself from undesired things, because you're too busy being tuned to beautiful things. That's where we are. That's where we are. Thank you for those of you who have supported us in the creation of this interaction. Just think about the beauty of this for those who find this recording. Excellent. Excellent. Not just the interaction that we offered in the beginning, but the interaction as a result of your questions and comments. How powerful this is for the one who finds this interaction as a recorded mechanism. Thank you. Thank you for your support in the creation of this. We're excited for each of you. We're excited for each of you. If you have any questions or comments or would like further support, check the description. There's the email address in the profile section of this platform. Send us an email. We'll respond. If deeper, greater conversation is required or would be to the highest benefit, we may refer you to a private session, or even beyond that, our private community for those of you who are seriously making this play and practice of this a priority. We love you very much, and we will talk to you soon.